or titles?
Sure.
If you're allowed to say.
No, it's fine. I can. Let me go back a little bit further from what I'm currently doing. Previously, I worked for the Department of, or the Texas Department of Protective Services, which includes CPS, Child Care Licensing, APS, all those regulatory agencies. And I worked there. When I left there, I was an abuse neglect supervisor when I left. And I left because it was just, it's just too it was just too stressful. It was just affecting my life too much. As an abuse neglect supervisor, I had a unit of 7. They were split up. I had 3 inspectors and 4 investigators, and I just couldn't do it anymore. It was consuming my life, and because we were always so short staffed. So I left there, and when I left, I still had that passion. And so I went to the court system, and now I'm just a guardian ad litem, assigned through a judge for children that are in state care.
Okay, I always assumed a guardian ad litem had to be an attorney.
No, that's in Texas. That's an attorney ad litem.
Oh,
and
really?
And a child gets both. When they come into care, they get a guardian ad litem, and then they get an attorney ad litem. So they are assigned both.
Well, I have never seen, I've only ever seen guardian ad litems, and they have been attorneys. So in the state of Tennessee, I'm not saying that's the way it has to be, but that's all I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I guess a lot of different agencies do it differently. I can tell you that the attorney ad litems that I have worked with typically only handle the legal aspect of it. They're not visiting the child on a regular basis, going in the homes, doing all of those things. Attorney ad litem's basically here in Texas just handle the legal aspect of it, and then expect an update from me. So that's just basically,
Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, like I said, it wasn't that it was important, but it's just to let people know, that you do know what you're talking about when it comes to certain situations.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so in your opinion,
and I guess that was my reasoning. I don't need to get out.
But I don't either. That's one reason why I was so upset about him not having to do the rehab. But the thing about it is they could keep him here. Hi, Don B.
Hi, Don.
They could keep him here until they decide they're not going to do anything with Summer. And at that point in time, transfer him to Utah and let him do his time.
Yeah, I hear you.
What's up, Don?
Hey, I'm kind of wondering maybe if, let's run this scenario. Do you think the judge may say, let's get this wrapped up before Dawn gets out of jail?
Would that be possible?
Yeah. I mean, they can. Because they don't give him an excuse because he went to jail. I mean, some of the things that are would be on a service plan he can do in jail. He can take parenting classes in jail. He's certainly not going to be using alcohol or drugs because he's in jail. And that's, going to be on his service plan. So, they're not going to just give him a pass because he went to jail, because his behavior is what sent him to jail.
But do you think that they would go ahead and take it to court and try to wrap things up with the boys before he gets out?
Well, if they've met their time frame, they're not going to expedite a time frame. They can't by law. If Tennessee law says you have 12 months, then you have 12 months. So we need to know how many months Tennessee says, and I don't have that answer. I don't know. But usually most states are about 12 months. Some are 18.
Because I'm just wondering, because if, the judge feels like Don's hiding behind his public defenders in the boys' case and not talking to investigators to help find Summer, I just wonder if the judge may say, hey, guys, I don't care ready or not, come October 26th, if nobody's ready and nothing's been done, I'm making a ruling.
Yeah.
Genevieve says it's 24 months. And And she says there has to be a TPR hearing first.
Well, there you go.
I think ultimately it's up to the judge's discretion. Is it not?
I've never seen a judge not go by the time frame because
Right.
that's the statute. That's
Yeah.
the statute. Now, I can tell you what I have seen is the attorneys that are assigned to the parents talk to them about relinquishing their rights. And if they relinquish their rights, then they don't have to have a trial, because you actually have a trial, like, so to speak, when you terminate rights. I mean, it's a trial through the family court, family court, but you have to actually go through the motions. So go ahead.
Ain't gag orders typically tied to trials?
Yes, but in this case, I think that they ordered it because of the investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So if it's 24 months, then we got a while.
Yeah.
Unless they relinquish. And they might relinquish. I've had parents relinquish before because they were tired of getting called for those random drug tests.
Hey, let's talk about the footprint.
Yeah.
Okay, so the dogs followed Summer's scent down to the road and then lost it because of the difference in terrain. Okay, so if there's a footprint on the ground that the dogs hit on, and why couldn't they follow that on out? I think it would be easier to track a scent through the woods if it's not changing terrains, like they said, from pavement, from dirt to pavement, and that's another question, if there was a footprint, I would say the dogs would probably have a pretty good trail to go on.
I would think so. I mean, and also, like, I don't know how long it was. Like, when was this footprint discovered?
That's another thing. Well, it had to be. I mean, dogs were up there 3 hours after 911 was called.
No, it was 4 days. The footprint was discovered on Saturday night.
Okay.
Was that when Dave Rader?
Dave Rader came in at 11 o'clock on Saturday night. They apprised him of finding the footprints that night. And so he had to be ready to go the first thing Sunday morning to go up there and look at it.
Okay.
Then you have to ask, how old are they?
Well, or like.
Could Candace have went over to someone's house and Summer went out? She maybe told Summer, hey, go play. So me and him can do whatever. And then when I, like, let's say she went somewhere and allegedly went to go have fun and told Summer to, or, go feel good, and told Summer to go play. And then when I get done, we'll go back to the house. Maybe Summer went off into the woods and played. Candace came out, wee, okay, let's go, Summer. And that's how that footprint got there.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea what the footprints. All I do know is what I said, depending on how the ground was.
Yeah.
And if there were like thorns and things like that, then not only would you have a footprint, but you should have some type of scent, bodily scent, like blood. Because I'm telling you, my legs look like I've been through a shredder, and it's just because I walked through the woods behind my house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Just from the pictures that I've seen of that area, it looks like I wouldn't want to walk through it.
Okay. Yeah. Genevieve says gag orders will only apply to the safety and security pertaining to information on children. So with this case, a gag order would be deemed applicable. And then whereas Summer says, it legally says in the state of Tennessee, children that are in a foster home 15 out of 22 months, parental rights can and will be removed.
Well, there you go.
So we have to wait until 22 months is up, and if the kids are still there, then they can remove them, whether or not.
Unless they relinquish their rights.
Right.
Now,
and I have seen that happen.
Let me ask you a question here. Now, how long did you work in the system?
I was with the department for about 6.5 years. I was supervisor for about 2. Okay. That was the hardest part, being a supervisor of abuse and neglect. That was too much.
Okay. During your time, did you ever come across any cases like this? Oh, you hadn't?
No, okay. not with missing children. No, with the kids being removed, absolutely, but not with a child that went missing.
Okay. Because I'd love to hear from a CPS worker who has experienced this multiple times.
But think about this. Think about this, Dawn, because I have thought about this. How many times when a child goes missing do the other siblings get removed?
Right. And I want to know, normally, what's the outcome in cases like this? What statistically, what has been the outcome? Has it been relatives that were involved? Strangers? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know of any other cases right offhand except for the West Boys. And we know also what happened.
Exactly. So, you know, I really thought about that because I was like, wait a minute. You know, typically, I mean, because, wow, you're really punishing a parent. You know, if the parent hadn't done anything, here they've lost their one child and now you're going to come take the rest of their children. You have to have a really good reason to do that. And obviously they did.
Yeah.
So.
Discovering the truth, you have missed quite a good one, but good thing it's going to be on replay. You can always watch again. This is Audrey B and Mr. Don B, of course. But Audrey is a ex-CPS worker, child guardian ad litem. Or you're still a guardian ad litem,
I still am a guardian ad litem, yes. Yeah, I still do that.
So, but it's for the state of Texas.
That's correct.
Genevieve says, Don B, most DCS caseworkers, active and retired, sign non-disclosure at the time of employment separation.
Not me.
There you go. Well, she did say most.
Yeah, and that's in Tennessee too, though.
Yeah. No, we don't have to. But of course, the other thing is, I'm not giving you specific.
Yeah, you're giving general
information.
Yeah, and I would think maybe statistics. You know, statistics wouldn't be protected information.
No, I mean, it's when you're confidential, you're talking about identifying information. You know, that could identify the case, anything that could identify the case or the people involved in the case. Now, I have done training classes and given out hypotheticals all the time because that's how you train people, is by telling them, hey, one time we had this case that this and this and this happened. So if you run into this kind of case, you know, this is what you do. So, I mean, because you have to give real life examples when you're training. So that's why I'm comfortable doing this and giving hypotheticals, is because it's really no different than giving a training class. But this is not a training class. This is not official training. So nobody say that.
In your opinion, do you think CPS was called to go to 110 Ben Hill Road that night when officers got there and probably seen I
don't know.
The broad spectrum of things?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if they called CPS immediately. I would have, just based off of the circumstances.
Yeah, because officers ain't CPS workers. So, but at the same time, they have concerns. And I mean, if I was there, I would, and I seen certain, you know, circumstances, I would probably, you know, say, hey, Ronnie, we probably need to get a worker down here to evaluate this.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing that I think about that situation is everybody was so focused on finding Summer. And I really truly believe that they thought they would.
Yeah.
I think they thought she wandered off.
Everybody, I dropped Miss Audrey's link for her channel in the chat. If y'all would go to her page.
Thank you. Thank you.
Subscribe. Or at least check her out. That would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, now did hear in the scanner chatter that Ronnie told everybody to make sure that they recheck the house. And it kind of sounded to me like at that point, especially with the 911 call coming in the way it did, you know, we went for a walk, come back, my kid's gone. I think Ronnie was already suspicious. Maybe this ain't a kid that wandered off. And then the cops get there and mom's high as a kite. Well, wait a minute, you're high as a kite, you can barely walk. Where the hell did you go?
She went on a run, not a walk, and there's a big difference in Tennessee, Dawn.
You can barely stand. Where the hell did you go?
Yeah,
that a lot of red flags probably early on in the investigation.
Sure.
Red flag. No, another red flag. Throwing them in the cop car and taking them down to the police station that night. I mean, do you treat parents that maybe a kid wandered off that way?
Well, they're always going to talk to the parents. You know, I mean, they have to, because statistically, I mean, if you look at statistics overall, stranger abductions are not that common. Typically, it's some type of familial abduction or foul play.
And I heard they were pretty aggressive with them too. And I'm just thinking that's not the way that if I was an officer, I'd be treating someone if I honestly thought their kid wandered off. I wouldn't be throwing their ass in a cop car and interrogating them at the police station that same night.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I don't know. I think the narrative and the easy thing to do was to go with she's wandered off. Let's go look for her.
Yeah.
And I think that because of that, and maybe I'm just making an excuse, but they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have evaluated those vehicles.
And Dawn,
go ahead.
Dawn telling officers, you know, I know she was taken. I know y'all ain't listening to me. She was taken. I mean, then the officers are going to get together and be like, what the hell is he talking about? Okay, let's ask him. Then who took her? Oh, I don't know. Well, then why are you saying it, dude? And red flag number 2.
Yeah. And not only that, the spelling test that they just had to keep taking over and over until they passed them, you know. Yeah. Have you ever heard tell of a lie detector test being took until it's passed?
No.
I haven't.
I mean, I've heard of them giving you another chance, but I don't know.
Well, I know they probably couldn't give Candace one that night because
she was
of issues.
Yeah, she was.
And it also takes, if I'm thinking, someone from the TBI has to administer it.
It is, yes.
And it's going to take time to get them, you know. That would have probably at the earliest happened the next day.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just so much. There's so many strange things that just don't make sense. And I mean, you know, hindsight's 20/20, and I'll give them that. And law enforcement are human just like we are. And, you know, but there's so many things that I look at and I'm like, why didn't they do that? Why didn't they do this?
Yeah.
Why didn't, you know, there's just so many things that just don't make sense to me.
It's definitely going to be a learning lesson for everybody, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, I don't know that we've seen one. I mean, we've seen some doozies, those of us that are in true crime, but this one's a doozy.
Yeah, it's a rewrite the training manual for sure.
Right. It's gonna be a learning curve for the CPS workers too, I'm sure.
Oh, you know it. You know
it. While you're up here, let me get, you know, I've been talking to you about the Troy Keller case. What do you think about the Troy Keller, the washing machine?
Worker's mom. I seen him talking.
Huh? She was at work. She was at work.
Oh, conveniently.
No,
where was that?
No, he's the one that left. Okay, mom, because I live not far from there, so I actually went to the house. Mm-hmm. Mom was at work, and there's a coworker that confirmed she was with her all night. She works at a hospital. She works at Methodist Hospital in Houston. And
okay, where was Dad?
He was supposed to be home with the child, and at some point he leaves.
I could have sworn in the news interview he said he was at work.
People are saying he was at work.
And he come home.
He works at a hospital in the kitchen. He's a chef. He works at a hospital in the kitchen. No, there were articles that said Dad was at work, but then there's people that say that's not true.
Yeah, they'll verify that real quick.
Yeah. The problem that we're having is we're not getting any, but I mean, we're early on. I just now got something from the medical examiner's office where they released, really it was nothing because everything's still pending, but they did release his body to either a funeral home, a crematorium, something to the family.
Yeah. Because if he said, he's got to have an alibi. He's got to, or they're going to have issues.
My personal opinion, and I hope I'm wrong, because I want this just to be a freak accident, because I never want people to be, especially parents, to be responsible for doing something to their child. And this one really bothers me, and I can tell, and any child bothers me, but this child was a foster child who got adopted. And I can tell you, adoptions are happy days. I have one that's coming up, and I'm so excited for it. It's one of the best days in those children's lives. So this is a child who actually got to experience that. And then, boom, this happens. So, I want it to be an accident, but I know it's not. And
see, the dad left at some point that evening, early night, and then got back right before midnight, and supposedly the door was unlocked and just pushed open. Yeah. But he didn't call anybody. It wasn't until 7.
He had turned 7 July 11th, so he had just had a birthday.
I'm not leaving my 7-year-old home alone until midnight.
And nobody called the law or anything until Mom got home at like 4 something that morning.
4 a.m. that morning, and I think the call actually went in at like 5 something.
Wonder when Mom went into work.
I don't know, because I want to know what her schedule is, because this is what I like. Does she get off at 4 a.m. or something, or did she get called by Dad that says, "Hey, you better get home"?
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's strange.
But yeah, I mean, the last place you would look if it was obviously an accident is probably the washer. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Of course, cops are going to do it, but you're going to. I mean, especially it was out in the garage, wasn't it?
It was in the garage.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in the garage. They had just moved into that home. They closed on that house 3 weeks before, so they had just moved in.
Yeah, I mean, I've played hide and seek with my kids in the house before and never thought to check the washer for them.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if the washer was in the garage and they had just moved in, was it even hooked up?
That's a very good question, because somebody, and this could just be a rumor, but someone said that the people who sold the home left the washer and dryer at the house. So there may have been a set that were already hooked up, and these were the ones that they moved with, and they weren't hooked up. I don't know. But then really explain that one, because it would not have locked.
No, it wouldn't have locked.
I mean, unless they plugged it up. But why would they plug it up?
And I seen the dryer on the news when they were taking it, or the washer when they were taking it out. And you would have to be wadded up to get, if it was accidental, his legs would be sticking out of that washer.
He could have fit in. It's actually, what is so ironic is I have that exact same washer, and I totally freaked when I realized it. He could have fit. It's just a barrel. Okay. There's no agitator. It's just a barrel. He could have fit in there, but it would have been a tight squeeze. And it depends on what kind of shape he was in. Like, did he see, that's what I don't know. Like, what condition was he in when he got, like, if he got in the washer himself and it was an accident, then that's a little strange to me, because he would have really had to roll up in a ball.
Oh,
and how did the door get locked?
Yeah, because my washer at home doesn't lock unless you have it activated.
Yes, mine too. And it's a button you have to push. It's not like a switch that he could bump with his arm or something. Mine is a button, a flat button. And so that thing is hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I don't know.
I wonder, like, was there any clothes in with him?
I don't know.
I mean, accident. We're going on the accident theory. Maybe he was doing his own laundry, fell in, And now here's a scenario. Now, I've done this before. The water's filling up, right? The lid's locked. You push the button to stop it, so the lid will unlock. Well, no, you got to push the button back for it to start again, though.
Yeah, you do, to lock the lid.
I thought, what if he fell in? Thought, well, I'll just get turned around, get back out.
And the lid jar shut.
Lid shut, but the lid doesn't lock again until you press that start button, and then you hear it go click, and then it starts running water again.
Yep. And that's the way this washer would work, because it's the
not that I know how to do laundry, guys. This man, I'm not bragging or nothing.
You do. You better anyway.
Oh.
But it just amazes me that they have not made any arrests. They took those two parents in, questioned them, and released them. Catch and release.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably waiting on the medical examiner's finding too.
They are, because they have everything pending right now. They have a death certificate, but it just says undetermined. It's everything's pending.
Yeah, I mean, and it's tricky too, because if it was blunt force trauma, that would come out like any kind of trauma would come out really quick from the medical examiner. So that's kind of got me scratching my head.
Right, but did the washer run?
Yeah.
Well,
so then you would have somebody put him in there and ran the washer. But then what if it was an overdose? Like you gave him something?
Yeah.
Then you got to wait on toxicology, and that takes forever.
Oh yeah, like what if allegedly, what if someone in the house was dealing and something was laced with something?
Yeah, I don't know. This boggles my mind. Just boggles my mind. That's how come I had to drive out there that day. I just went and put a teddy bear by the mailbox, because it just breaks my heart.
Oh, wow. Discovering Truth is asking somebody a question. How do you think it would affect a hormonal teenage boy that is kept secluded, homeschooled with no social life, and all pets end up mysteriously dying? I believe we're talking about Damien, right?
Oh, I don't want to touch that.
I am so lost.
Damien, Jody Sue's son.
Oh, I'm not. I'm with Audrey. I'm not touching it.
I just, that whole situation. That's Well,
hey guys, I'm down to 5%. I'm gonna have to cut it short. I did. You offered, so I figured I'd come up and join you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Dawn. Good to talk to you.
Hey guys, show these girls some love.
Thank you. Have a good night, Dawn.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Rebecca says toxicology report takes a minimum of 12 weeks.
I know it takes forever, because when my brother passed away, we had to wait for toxicology forever, and it drove me insane waiting. So I know it takes forever.
The Real Rockin' Robin says, in my opinion, tests take too long. No, they have to be done, but good Lord, months.
Well, and just like here, Harris County, it's Houston, and I can tell you that medical examiner's office, they are so backlogged. I mean, we have murders every day in this county, in Houston. And so it's crazy. Like, I was shocked to even get that information, because when I sent that email, she emailed me back and she said, there is no time frame. And I thought, well, I'm not going to hear from anybody for a long time. And then the next day, at least I got the report that they put him in the database, but it's still pending.
Right.
But we do know they've released his body. So.
Well, I mean, at least we have that much.
And I'm digging and digging and digging everything I can to see if I can find out, are they going to have a service or what? Because if they have a service, I'm gone. But I bet the family's not going to make that public, because they've already, like I said, they had to lock down their social media. because of, comments they were getting, and then people going on news sites and stuff, leaving comments. And so they're not going to want the public to be aware. They'll probably do a private thing. So
quick fix screen is quick development toxic screen. Why is it echoing? Hang on one second. I'm getting an echo of my own, and I don't know why. Okay, now it's gone. Okay, quick fix screen is quick develop tox screen, tissue, etc. Takes a while because only a couple of labs that do them resource duty our channel. Resource duty our channel. Okay, duty wrong.
Okay, well that's interesting. So that's good to know.
Yes, thank you, Vet Girl. And I wasn't trying to ignore you when you came in. But Miss Audrey has had me engrossed in everything that she's had to say this evening.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it. I appreciate you inviting me.
Well, like I said, I shared your channel on my community tab. I've told everybody to go to it, subscribe, and I would love to have you back on the panel again anytime you want to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And if, as I get information on Troy, I'll let you know. And maybe we can do a follow-up on that. And then anytime you just want to chit chat, just let me know.
Okay. Well, guys, it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I think we're going to give Miss Audrey a rest and let her jump off here. And I thank each and every one of you guys for showing up.
Yeah.
And I hope we all have learned something in here today.
I hope so. I appreciate you all.
Well, we appreciate you, Miss Audrey. Everybody, remember to pray for the case, pray for the kids, pray for patience for ourselves, because we're going to need it.
Yep.
And we'll see you all later. Bye, Miss Audrey.
Bye, guys. Y'all have a great evening.